My child, you've tried so hard, I know. Harder than most people realize. Every morning you rise with an invisible weight, a quiet but constant fear that if you don't do it all just right, love will slip through your fingers. You wake up already performing, already preparing the emotional stage. The right words, the right mood, the right timing, the right answers. You anticipate others' needs before they voice them. You smooth over conflict. You keep your emotions measured so no one feels uncomfortable around you. And you call that love. But underneath it all, you're exhausted. And more than exhausted, you're afraid. You're afraid that if you stop spinning all the plates, something deeper will be revealed. That maybe you're only lovable when you're useful. That maybe your presence, on its own, wouldn't be enough. So you keep offering more. You pour out your energy, your gifts, your tenderness, even when no one pours back. And the world affirms this rhythm. They praise you for being so strong, so dependable, so mature. But it's left you hollow, because you've confused affirmation with affection. And what your soul actually craves is not applause. It's to be known and chosen without needing to audition for it. I need you to hear me say this. You don't need to perform to be loved. Not by me. Not now. Not ever. I never began this relationship with you based on performance. I didn't choose you because of your record, your skills, or your ability to hold everyone else together. I didn't start loving you once you started producing fruit. I loved you when you were still in your mess, when your thoughts were tangled, your past still bleeding, and your walls were high. I saw you, not your stage version, and I said, mine. The world you live in teaches transaction. You do for me, and I'll stay near. You give, and you'll be valued. You succeed, and you'll be secure. And that rhythm seeps into your relationship with me. You start to believe you have to impress me too. That I'm silently evaluating your prayers, your service, your purity, your consistency. But I'm not grading you. I'm loving you. My gaze is not harsh or critical. It's soft, steady, constant. You can look away for weeks and I'll still be right here. You can fall into old patterns and my voice will still whisper the same truth over your identity. You are mine, and I love you. My son didn't die for your resume. He died for your restoration. I didn't send him to save the impressive. I sent him to rescue the desperate, the ones too tired to fake it, the ones too bruised to shine, the ones like you, who want to believe they're more than what they do, but don't know how to live that way yet. I came for you before you performed a single act of faith, before your first yes, before your first fast, before your first offering, before your first moment of spiritual clarity. Love came first. Grace came first. I've watched how you tense up even when you pray, how even in your most sacred moments, a part of you still wonders if you're doing it right. You check yourself, measure yourself, try to match some invisible standard of spiritual adequacy. But I'm not sitting above you with a checklist. I'm kneeling beside you with compassion. I never told you to perfect your posture before approaching me. I said, come. Just come. There's a reason I reminded my people again and again that my mercies are new every morning, because I knew you'd need to hear it again today. I knew how easy it would be for you to wake up and forget, to slip right back into striving. So let me tell you this again, and don't rush past it. My love does not increase or decrease based on your output. It is fixed, steady, unshaken. Even on the days when you forget me, I do not forget you. I still draw near when you've drifted. I still call your name when you're silent. I still choose you when you're lost in self-judgment. You think your strength is what makes you valuable, but your strength is just the fruit of my presence with you. It is not the condition for my presence. You don't earn me. You host me. You receive me. You return to me. That's the rhythm I'm inviting you into today. Not performance, not perfection. but presence, intimacy, stillness, trust. You've spent years adapting to other people's needs, trying to become what each room required, and I honor the compassion behind that. I honor your longing to bring peace, your desire to be safe for others. But child, that's not your identity. That's just a symptom of your wound. Somewhere, long ago, you learned that who you really are might not be enough for the people who matter. So you began shaping yourself to stay loved. That's what I'm healing now. That's the lie I'm unraveling. You don't need to be on today to be worthy of tenderness. You don't need to smile if you're weary. You don't need to feel spiritual to be spiritual. You don't need to hold others up when your own arms are trembling. I didn't ask you to become a pillar, I asked you to become a child. And children are never expected to carry the house. They are simply invited to live in it, safe, seen, and held. And if you don't know how to stop performing yet, I'm not frustrated with you. I'll sit with you as you unlearn it. I'll meet you in the awkward silence when you don't know what else to say. I'll draw near when you feel guilty for needing help. I'll hold your heart when the old fears try to speak again. Because love, real love, doesn't demand immediate transformation. It creates space for it. So take a deep breath now, not because you've accomplished anything, but because you are allowed to be. I gave you this breath. I gave you this moment. You are loved before, during, and after every attempt. My spirit lives in you. Not because you're perfect, but because you're mine. I made you for connection, not for performance. And this morning, that's my invitation. Be mine again. Not by doing, not by giving, just by receiving. Let me love you without condition. Let me hold what you're tired of holding. Let my presence quiet the panic in your soul. You don't have to try so hard to stay in my favor. It was never in danger. Just be with me. You are already enough. Let me ask you gently, when did you start believing that I was only pleased with the version of you that had it all together? Who told you that my face turns away when your strength runs out? That voice, that subtle, insistent pressure that tells you to stay strong, stay impressive, stay valuable, that's not me. I'm not the one tightening your chest when you fall short. I'm the one reaching for your heart in the fall. There's a difference between conviction and condemnation, and you've been caught in the wrong one. Conviction calls you back to me with clarity and kindness. It says, come home. Condemnation accuses and shames. It whispers, you're only worth something if you don't mess this up. You've let that voice sit too close for too long. But today, I'm pulling it away from you. Not harshly, but with the authority of a father who knows what's been oppressing his child. Because here's what's true. My love is not reactive. It doesn't respond to your performance. It's not stronger on your best day or weaker on your worst. My love precedes you. It surrounds you. It's woven into your beginning, your middle, and your return. When you forgot me, I still held you. When you ran from me, I still followed. When you buried yourself in roles and responsibilities to avoid your ache, I stayed near. You didn't earn my nearness, and you don't have to earn my delight. I know what it's like to be unseen in your pain, but expected to keep showing up anyway. I know how it feels when no one checks in on the one who always seems fine, when your consistency becomes invisible and your giving becomes assumed. And I know you've wondered, quietly, carefully, if I stopped giving this much, would they still love me? And I want to be clear with you. I would. I do. Right now. Without the output, without the effort, there are parts of you that have never been loved without conditions. Parts that have always come with a price tag or a performance clause. And because of that, you've started bringing that same guardedness into your time with me. You want to be real, but you flinch internally when you are. You want to be loved as you are, but you've also trained yourself to be useful to earn safety. That's a wound I'm not ignoring. That's a chain I'm breaking. I didn't call you to be impressive, I called you to be intimate. I didn't gift you so that you'd feel valuable. I gifted you because you are valuable. And even if every gift faded tomorrow, your worth would remain untouched. Because your identity is not built on what you bring, it's built on who you are to me. You are my beloved, my own. And nothing you've done or failed to do has shaken that truth. Let me speak directly to that place in you that feels like it always has to prove something. The part that panics when things feel uncertain. The part that takes responsibility for everything around you because you don't want to be blamed if it falls apart. I see that part, and I'm not angry with it. I'm healing it. You don't need to carry the weight of being perfect. I already carried the weight of your imperfection. You don't need to manage everyone's expectations to avoid rejection. I've already accepted you with full knowledge of your flaws. You may think, but I should be better by now. I should be stronger. I shouldn't need this much reassurance. But what if the healing is happening because you're finally allowing yourself to be honest about that need? What if strength looks different in my kingdom? What if the strong ones are the ones who come to me with their fears instead of hiding them? What if the wise ones are the ones who fall into my arms instead of pretending they've got it under control? You've confused consistency with invulnerability. You've believed that reliability means never cracking. But even the most faithful trees bend in the storm. Even my son wept before the cross. Even prophets had days they couldn't speak. And I loved every one of them through it. I never required them to be above weakness. I only asked that they trust me in it. You don't have to be the strong one today. You don't have to be the capable one. You don't have to be the spiritual one who always knows what to say. You don't even have to finish the sentence you just started to pray. I hear you. I understand your pauses. I see the tears that don't fall, the ones that just swell quietly and stay hidden behind your eyes. I know what you're carrying, and I'm not asking you to carry it well. I'm asking you to give it to me. So let me hold what's too heavy. Let me carry what you've convinced yourself you can't drop. You don't have to earn my compassion. You don't have to qualify for my attention. You don't have to sustain your own momentum to stay loved. You are already loved, fully, right here, in your tension, in your questions, in your confusion, in the space between who you try to be and who you really are. What I want from you this morning is not more output. I want your heart, your unfiltered, unfinished, quietly aching heart. I want the part of you that's still skeptical that love like mine exists. I want the part of you that doesn't know how to trust it yet. Because I'll never demand that you rush healing. I'll just keep offering a safe place for it. Let today be different. Let today be softer. Let today be the day you stop measuring your worth by how well you perform and start remembering that you were chosen before you had a single credential to your name. Come back to the center. Come back to my gaze. There is no shame in your slow process. There is no pressure in my presence. There is only love, pure, unwavering, personal love. You were never meant to perform to be loved. You were always meant to rest in being mine. You've been asking yourself quietly, why do I feel so worn out even when I'm doing all the right things? You've stayed consistent. You've tried to pray. You've shown up for people. You've pushed through the fog of self-doubt and made it to the next thing on the calendar. And yet, something feels hollow. Not wrong, not sinful, just drained. That slow drip in your soul that feels like it's leaking something sacred every time you push through what you were never meant to carry. I need you to hear this clearly now. This isn't just exhaustion. It's something deeper. It's the weight of misaligned love. You've spent too many years confusing effort with intimacy. You learned somewhere that love had to be earned, maintained, guarded, protected. So you became good at reading the room. You got skilled at giving before people asked. You learned to anticipate rejection before it ever arrived. And now, even when you sit with me, there's a part of you still postured for performance, trying to get it right, trying not to disappoint, trying to feel worthy of staying loved. But I didn't build you to live on high alert. I didn't design you to be everyone's answer, and I certainly didn't create you to hold up my love with your own two hands, as if it could fall if you stopped moving. My love is not fragile. It doesn't wobble when you rest. It doesn't evaporate when you're inconsistent. It doesn't cool when you're weak. You've been holding a weight I never placed on your shoulders. That's what's breaking you down. Not disobedience, not failure, just a belief that love is something you're supposed to maintain instead of receive. There's a wound underneath all this striving. I know where it came from. It wasn't loud. It wasn't dramatic. It was subtle. Maybe it happened in childhood, in a place where attention was only given when you succeeded. Or maybe it came later, through a relationship that praised your usefulness but never nurtured your core. Maybe it came from a faith culture that equated discipline with worth, service with acceptance. Somewhere along the way, the message settled in. If I stop producing, I'll stop being loved. And now even your rest feels guilty. Even your joy feels conditional. But child, I want to speak directly into that belief today. Let my truth rewrite what life distorted. You are not loved because of what you bring. You are loved before it. You are not safe because you're consistent. You're safe because I am. You're not valuable because you serve others well. You're valuable because I breathed my image into you before you served anyone at all. Let me show you something. Remember the story of my son at his baptism? Before he preached a sermon, before he healed the sick, before he walked on water or calmed a storm, I spoke over him and said, "This is my beloved son, in whom I'm well pleased." He hadn't done anything public yet. He hadn't built a following or gathered disciples. And yet, my love was already declared. My pleasure was already complete. That's the model. That's the rhythm. Love first, approval first, identity first. Performance was never the basis. It was just the overflow. I want to remind you this morning, you don't need to produce to be pleasing to me. I am not waiting for the next achievement to smile over you. I am smiling now, even in your fog, even when you're unsure if you're doing enough, even when you're not sure where your passion went. I'm still here. I'm not disappointed in your slow steps. I'm not offended by your fatigue. I don't despise your lack of clarity. I cherish your honesty more than I admire your efforts. You don't have to say it perfectly. You just have to stay with me. So let me be your resting place, not your pressure point. Let me be the one who sees the tear before it falls, the sigh before it's heard. You're allowed to be tired. You're allowed to not know. You're allowed to set things down. You're allowed to ask for more than you offer. This is not selfishness. It's trust. You've built your life around making others feel seen. But let me flip the mirror now. Let you be the one who is seen, fully, freely, without demand. And yes, I know it feels strange, foreign even, to believe that you can be completely loved without trying harder, to sit in silence and not reach for something to prove. But that's the deeper healing I'm leading you into. This is not the abandonment of discipline, it's the redemption of desire. When you stop performing, that's when you'll actually begin to experience me. When the mask falls, then the soul breathes. Because here's what's truest. I'm not after your performance, I'm after your heart. And I don't need your heart polished. I just want it present. You don't need to impress me to belong. You already belong. You don't need to push through your pain to be accepted. You already are. You don't need to prove you're grateful. I already know you are. That's why I came for you in the first place. Not because you were whole, but because I loved you in your fracture. Let today be a holy interruption, a pause in the cycle, a return to something gentler, Don't just keep moving because you're afraid of what silence might expose. Bring me into the silence. Let me speak where your effort has been too loud. I'm not disappointed by your neediness. I'm honored by it. It means you finally see me not as a boss to be pleased, but as a father to be trusted. You are not a product. You are not a project. You are not a solution. You are my child, my image bearer, my delight. You don't have to perform to be loved. You just have to remember you're already mine. You've started to notice it, haven't you? Subtle shifts, a soft pull towards stillness, the moments when you used to fill every silence with motion. Now they make you pause instead of panic. It's small, but it's real. That pull in your soul that says, maybe I don't have to prove everything. It's the beginning of something holy, a reordering, a returning. This isn't weakness, this is healing in motion. You're not breaking down, you're breaking free. I've been whispering to you, even in the middle of your busyness, in the quiet between tasks, in the sighs you let out when no one is looking. I've been brushing my love against your awareness, not to get your attention with pressure, but with presence. I've been stirring something deeper in you, not a new assignment, but a new awareness of me. Because the truth is, you've been faithful in so many things. You've shown up even when you didn't feel seen. You've loved through burnout. You've extended grace when you didn't have much left, and none of it was wasted. But now I'm inviting you into a different kind of movement. Not outward, but inward. A softening of pace, a restoration of soul, a shift from doing to being. There is something sacred about this transition, and it might feel uncomfortable at first, because you've built your identity around what you offer. You've known yourself through what you accomplish, how others respond, what they expect from you. But now I'm stripping those things away, not to shame you, but to show you who you really are beneath them. Not a role, not a result, a beloved. Do you remember the day you first encountered me? Not through religion, not through obligation, but when something in you genuinely recognized that I was real and near. That moment wasn't built on your perfection. It came through surrender. That's what I'm bringing you back to now. Not the high-energy faith of trying to please me with performance, but the grounded, tender trust that says, I don't have to impress him. He already sees me. And I do, I see you. I see the tired version of you who gets up anyway. I see the one who encourages others when you're secretly needing it most. I see the one who doubts whether they're enough, but still hopes, even if just a little. I see the one who wonders if they'll ever be able to rest without guilt. And I'm not annoyed with you. I'm not disappointed. I'm not distant. I'm here, still, fully, with you. When I sent my son, I didn't just send an example, I sent a mirror. He was not just what you should try to become. He was what I always intended for you to carry inside. My spirit, my gentleness, my presence. And remember this, Jesus didn't rush. He wasn't hurried. He was never in a panic to prove himself. Even though he was the answer, he didn't live like a solution. He lived like a son, secure, steady, loved. That same spirit lives in you. You're learning how to walk in that rhythm now, slowly, softly, not with shame, but with holy awareness. The signs are already showing. You pause before overcommitting. You breathe before explaining yourself. You notice the difference between serving out of overflow and serving out of fear. You feel when your soul is shrinking to please others, and you've started to ask, what if I stop? That question is sacred. It's me in you stirring courage. So let these early signs encourage you. Healing doesn't always come like fire. Sometimes it comes like dew, soft, unnoticed at first, but steady and real. These small awakenings in your soul, that's me. That's my spirit, inviting you to live as one who is already chosen, already loved, already safe. And yes, it may cost you some things. As you step out of performance, some people might not understand. Some may distance themselves when you stop producing what they expected from you. And that will hurt, but it will also free you. Because the love that leaves when you stop performing was never love. It was dependence, transaction, illusion. I will never leave you like that. My love isn't activated by your usefulness. It's rooted in my nature. When I said I loved you, I didn't mean the curated version. I didn't mean the productive version. I meant you, the real you. The you who has nothing left to offer. The you who's not sure how to stop, but is willing to try. The you who isn't even sure how to receive love without earning it, but wants to. I can work with that. I can heal that. You don't have to run ahead to figure this out. You don't need a 10-step plan to finally be still enough. I'm not asking for performance in your resting either. Just stay close. Let your attention come back to me. Let your body exhale. Let your mind unclench. Even now, even as you read these words, notice the atmosphere in your chest. That warmth, that loosening, that's me. That's what it feels like when love enters the room. You're not being emptied. You're being recalibrated. I'm removing the static so you can hear me again. I'm lifting the burden of visibility, the constant awareness of, am I doing this right? You were never meant to be your own judge. You were meant to be mine, to walk in light, not inspection. And here's what I see when I look at you. I see beauty. I see resilience. I see softness, even under your armor. I see potential, even in your pause. I see desire, even in your doubt. You are still mine. You are still loved. You are still worth every moment of my attention. Let this be enough for now. Not another to-do. Not another reason to strive. Just this moment of alignment. This reminder that you don't have to perform to be loved. You just have to return to me. I'll meet you every time. Let's talk about your body. Yes, your actual physical body. The one that keeps going when your soul wants to stop. The one that tenses in your shoulders when expectations rise. The one that wakes up early, not because it's rested, but because it's on alert. The one that has carried the load of being everything for everyone for so long. It no longer knows what peace feels like unless it's earned. I see it. I see how often you ignore what it's trying to say to you just to meet another need. I see the hunger for rest that gets overridden by the urge to prove you're still holding it together. But I didn't make your body as an accessory to your soul. I made it as a vessel of my presence. It's not just a shell to carry purpose. It's a temple I indwell. That means when your body signals fatigue, it's not betraying you. It's communicating with you. And ignoring it doesn't make you more spiritual. It only separates you further from the rhythm I designed for you. You've been faithful. I know that. But faithfulness is not the same as self-erasure, and obedience doesn't mean burnout. You've used my name to justify running past your limits, but I never asked for that sacrifice. I said, present your body as a living sacrifice, not a dying one. Living means nourished. Living means sustained. Living means aware of the sacred signs I placed inside of you to remind you when it's time to rest. To say no. To pull back. Not out of rebellion, but out of reverence. Your limits are not a flaw in your design. They're part of your protection. I placed them there on purpose. They slow you down long enough to feel again. To recalibrate. To remember that love was never supposed to be extracted from you like a resource, but received and given like breath. And breath requires pause, inhale, exhale, repeat. It's the first rhythm I gave you when you entered the world, and it's still the most spiritual one you can practice. So here's my invitation today. Honor your body as a partner in your healing. Don't bully it for needing rest. Don't shame it for getting sick. Don't push it beyond what I've graced it for. That's not perseverance. That's self-neglect, dressed in religious clothing. And I love you too much to let that continue. You've associated strength with invisibility. You've told yourself that needing space is weakness, that saying no means failure, that resting is selfish. But child, even I, the creator of time and eternity, modeled rest for you. On the seventh day I stepped back, not because I was tired, but because I was satisfied. I saw what I had made, and I called it good. You haven't learned to step back yet. You see progress and feel pressure to maintain it. You see fruit and feel fear of losing it. But what if you learn to pause, not because it's over, but because you're safe? That's what I want for you. A life where love isn't measured in exhaustion. A life where peace isn't postponed until everyone else is okay. A life where your own needs are not the final thing on your list. A life where your inner world matters just as much as your impact. You weren't made to live drained. You were made to live filled and to serve others from that place of overflow, not depletion. So let's make it practical. What is one thing you can lay down today, not because it's bad, but because it's too much? What's one yes you gave out of fear, not faith? What's one task you keep doing just to avoid disappointing someone who never truly saw you in the first place? Let me help you gently release it. Let me speak to the part of you that believes you'll only be safe if you stay useful. Because I am your safety, not your performance, not your control, not your reputation. Me, and in me, you don't have to earn breath. You don't have to hustle for space. You don't have to prove you're spiritual enough to deserve rest. My spirit is your rest. I've already placed the manna for today within your reach. And just like I did in the desert, I won't give you tomorrow's portion today. You won't have to hoard or worry. I'll be faithful tomorrow too. But today, I want you to eat the bread I place before you without guilt. I want you to drink deeply of the joy that's already available. I want you to walk at the speed of grace, not performance. Because this is the rhythm of those who belong to me. Not sprinting, but staying. Not chasing approval, but resting in identity. And when others ask for more than you can give, pause. Breathe. Ask me what's yours to carry and what's not. I never asked you to be everything for everyone. I asked you to reflect me, and I am not hurried. I'm not frantic. I'm not anxious. I am peace itself. I am love itself. And I'm teaching you to live like you're loved. So yes, take care of others. Serve them well. Love generously. But not as a performance. Not to stay accepted. Not to feel safe. Let it be the fruit of love, not the proof of it. Let it come from fullness, not fear. You are allowed to rest. You're allowed to say, that's enough for now. You're allowed to close the laptop, cancel the meeting, turn off the phone, and sit with me. Not because everything's done, but because you are not a machine. You are a soul, deeply loved. And I care about your capacity more than you think. You don't need to push harder to be seen. You don't need to pour more to stay valuable. I see you now. I'm pleased now. And my love for you won't rise or fall based on what you do next. It's already steady. So breathe again. Not as an act of rebellion, but as a declaration of trust. I'm still here. I'm still enough. And you are still mine. I want to talk to you now about something even deeper. The mask. The one you wear without even realizing it. It's become second nature. It's the version of you that smiles through tension, nods through frustration, serves through heartbreak. It's the version you've built, slowly, carefully, layer by layer, to keep people close and protect yourself from being rejected. You call it maturity or responsibility or just being who they need you to be. But I call it what it is. a survival strategy, a defense against wounds that were never healed. And it's time to let me remove it, gently but truthfully. You weren't born performing, you were born reaching, needing, trusting. You were born with a heart that expected love, not earned it. And then somewhere along the way, something shifted. Someone didn't show up the way they should have. Or love became inconsistent, contingent on behavior, on excellence, on invisibility. And so you adapted. You became what they needed to keep the peace. You became the responsible one, the achiever, the listener, the leader, the giver. And in the process, you learned how to be loved, but not how to be yourself. But I never asked you to become lovable. I declared you already loved. You didn't have to become worthy. You were already created in worth. The mask didn't protect you, it buried you. And I know you've tried to take it off before, only to put it back on when the vulnerability felt too exposed, too uncertain. But I want to do more than gently peel it away. I want to show you who you are underneath it. Not the version curated for acceptance, but the real you, the one who is safe in my gaze. You've worn many names that were never yours. The strong one, the fixer, the reliable one, the peacemaker, the helper, the spiritual one. And while there's nothing wrong with those traits, they are not your identity. They are roles you've carried, gifts you've stewarded, but they are not the essence of who you are. You are not the weight you bear for others. You are not the version that gets praised. You are not what people expect from you. You are mine. And you can be mine without being impressive. You can be mine when you don't have a solution, when you need someone to carry you, when you're not okay, when you feel too much or not enough, when you speak out of turn, when you sit in silence, when you grieve what you haven't even had the language to express. You don't have to shrink into the shape that fits the moment. You don't have to filter yourself to avoid losing favor. You can be real and still be loved. Let me name you again, not based on what you've done, but on what I see in you. You are my beloved child. You are chosen. You are whole, even in process. You are covered, even when you feel exposed. You are called, not because you perform well, but because I delight in partnering with you. You are beautiful in your vulnerability, not in spite of it. You are strong, not because you never break, but because you keep returning to me when you do. And hear me, none of this identity gets revoked when you falter. I don't withdraw love when you're off rhythm. I don't stop calling you mine when you stumble. My covenant is not performance-based. It's blood-based. My son didn't die so you could keep living under pressure. He died so you could live in freedom, in truth, in rest, in the fullness of who I made you to be. Not the mask, not the act, but the soul underneath, restored. The enemy will try to convince you that if you drop the mask, you'll lose love. That if you stop being the strong one, people will leave. But I'm not people. I don't leave. I don't love conditionally. I don't hold you hostage to your past roles. I free you from them. And the ones I send into your life, the ones marked by my heart, will not love the performance. They'll love the presence, the real you. The you who is learning how to rest, how to trust, how to receive. Don't fear disappointing others if it means obeying me. Don't fear losing affection if it means gaining identity. You were not created to survive through pretending. You were created to thrive in truth. That's where healing begins. Not when you master the next version of yourself, but when you stop hiding the current one. That's where intimacy with me deepens. Not when you speak perfectly, but when you simply show up honestly. I know it's terrifying at times. Vulnerability always feels like a risk when love has been unpredictable. But I'm not unpredictable. I'm not unsafe. I'm not watching you with a clipboard, assessing your worth. I'm watching you with a father's affection, patiently waiting for you to breathe freely again. So if today feels tender, if you find yourself crying and you don't know why, or wanting to pull back even though you long for connection, it's okay. You're not broken. You're unmasking. You're healing. You're letting go of old agreements that said love was only safe if it was earned. And I'm right here. I won't rush you, but I won't let you go back either. I'm too committed to your wholeness to let you settle for fragments. Let today be the day you stop trying to be impressive. Let today be the day you breathe without performance. Let today be the day you remember you don't have to perform to be loved. You already are. You always were, and I'm not going anywhere. Let's shift now, because healing is not only about letting go, it's about learning how to walk again. A new way, a gentler way. Not in isolation, but in communion. I'm not just asking you to stop performing. I'm inviting you to rebuild with me. To live by a rhythm that doesn't drain your soul, but nourishes it. One rooted in love, not effort. In awareness, not anxiety. In trust, not control. And no, I'm not expecting you to figure that out in a day. You've spent years surviving in patterns that told you you had to earn love, keep people happy, be strong, stay productive. You've been so used to go, do, give, that you've forgotten how to simply be with me. But I'm patient. I'm not measuring how quickly you unlearn. I'm just asking you to start walking in a different direction. So let's start with this. Create space for me again. Not to please me, but to be with me. Not because I'm fragile and need your attention, but because you need my presence, like breath. And I don't require long hours of impressive prayers. I just want honesty. I want the real you. The one who says, God, I'm not even sure what I feel right now, but I don't want to hide it from you. That's where we begin. Let me be your daily rhythm, not your last resort. Invite me into the in-between, the drive, the dishwashing, the grocery line, the 3-minute pause in the middle of your day. Invite me not because you're trying to feel more spiritual, but because your heart was designed to be constantly connected to mine. You can't live whole without me, not because you're weak, but because we were always meant to live together. And in that rhythm, there are sacred instructions I want to whisper to you. Not loud, not rigid, but real. Things like, breathe here, step back there. Don't answer that message out of guilt. Say no to that event. Say yes to this hour of rest. Walk away from that voice. Trust the pause. These aren't rules to restrict you. They're boundaries to protect your soul. This is not control, it's freedom. It's how you stay close to me when the world tries to pull you back into its grind. Because yes, the world will keep offering you platforms to stand on, stages to perform from, ladders to climb. But those things will always require you to earn your place. And my kingdom is nothing like that. In my kingdom, belonging comes first. You don't work to stay in. You rest to remain. That's the real discipline I'm teaching you now. Not constant effort, but consistent communion. And it will feel awkward at first. Foreign. Like you're not doing enough. Like you're missing something. That's just your old mindset detoxing. You've been programmed to associate stillness with failure, to measure love by productivity. But I never called you to efficiency. I called you to fruitfulness. And fruit grows in rhythm, not in rush. The branches don't panic. They abide. They receive. They remain. You are one of those branches connected to me, your vine. And apart from me, you can do many things, but none of them will last. Apart from me, even your success will taste hollow. But with me, even your smallest moment becomes holy. Even your quiet yes in the dark is seen. Even your choice to rest when no one applauds it becomes a testimony of trust. So here's your permission. Let your days be less full and more faithful. Let your calendar reflect your healing. Let your time with me be slow, quiet, and undramatic, if that's what your soul needs. Stop performing rest and actually enter it. Let your life become a sanctuary, not a stage. And here's something deeper still. I want to teach you how to ask for what you need, not just from me, but from others. That too is part of love. You've given out of your lack for too long. You've served when you were empty, spoken peace when your heart was in pieces. But love doesn't just pour out, it receives too. Love allows others to see your need, and that doesn't make you weak, it makes you real. So ask for help, ask for space, ask for a friend to check in on you for once, ask for comfort, not just clarity, ask for love without needing to earn it first. That's part of your spiritual maturity now, not being less needy, but being more honest about your need. Even Jesus let others carry him. He let a woman wash his feet. He let Simon help him carry the cross. You can let others see you too. This is the life I'm building with you, not a platform, but a garden. And in this garden, nothing grows by force, only by presence, only by staying, only by trusting that my love really is enough to sustain you without constant proving. You don't need to be a spectacle. You don't need to outdo your last version. You just need to remain in me, and fruit will come. You're not a machine, you're a child of God. And children are loved not for what they produce, but for who they are. Don't rush past that. Let it rewire you. This is your spiritual instruction for now. Stay close. Pay attention. Honor your body. Receive love. Ask for help. Let go of what's too heavy. And most of all, stop apologizing for being human. I made you that way on purpose. Fragile, yes, but also filled with glory. You don't need to perform to be loved. You just need to stay near. That's where the healing continues. Now watch what happens when you begin to live from love instead of reaching for it. Watch what shifts in you, not just internally, but all around you. My favor follows identity, not performance. It doesn't chase the most qualified. It rests on the ones who stay close. My power is made perfect not in polished strength, but in surrendered weakness. That means the less you strive to appear strong, the more space you make for me to be your strength. The moment you stop trying to hold everything together is the very moment I begin to stretch out my hand in fresh authority. That's when heaven's movement begins to align with your peace, not your panic. You see, I never designed your life to be proof of your worth. I designed it to reflect my presence. When you live from love, your choices begin to shift. Your pace changes. Your boundaries take root. You say no without fear and yes without pressure. You stop managing impressions and start living in truth. This is the outer shift. It always follows the inner healing. And I want you to notice it, not to perform thankfulness, but to recognize what's already being restored. That tension you've carried in your chest, it loosens when you say, I'm allowed to rest. That fear of disappointing someone, it loses its grip when you say, I'm not their source. That endless cycle of measuring your success against others, it starts breaking when you remember, I'm already loved. I'm already chosen. I'm already safe. Even your voice begins to change. You stop apologizing for your presence. You stop over-explaining your limitations. You speak slower with more weight, not because you're trying to prove anything, but because you no longer need to rush truth past fear. You look people in the eye again. You listen from peace instead of performance. You don't interrupt your own need to validate someone else's comfort. That's not pride. It's healing, and yes, people will notice. Some will be confused. They've been used to the version of you that gave endlessly, adapted constantly, performed quietly. But don't be afraid when others don't understand your healing. It's not your job to convince them. I'll handle the outcomes. I'm asking you to stay aligned, not always understood. Because this new posture, this stillness, is prophetic. It's a declaration to the world that love without earning is real, and that I really do dwell with those who stop pretending. You'll find that even your work begins to feel different. Not less purposeful, but less pressured. You stop trying to be the solution and start being a presence. You carry peace into conversations instead of anxiety. You no longer need credit to feel validated. You're okay going unseen by people because you know you're fully seen by me. And when you create, you do it from inspiration, not obligation. When you serve, you do it from overflow, not deficit. Even your prayers shift. They're less about trying to unlock some hidden blessing and more about communion. They become quieter, but deeper. You stop praying to be impressive. You start praying just to be with me all. That's when you begin to sense my nearness more consistently, not because I've just arrived, but because your inner world has slowed down enough to notice I never left. This is where spiritual authority is born, not in performance, but in proximity. And I'm not interested in building your platform. I'm interested in building your inner world, because when your soul is secure in my love, no storm can undo what I've anchored. No criticism can uproot what I've spoken. No failure can disqualify what I've already declared. You are mine, and I delight in you. You've tried for so long to earn what you already had, and I'm proud of your faithfulness, even when it came from striving. But now I want to give you a different legacy, one not built on endurance alone, but on joy, on being deeply rooted, on walking in rest without shame. That's how my kingdom expands, not through overworked saints, but through whole sons and daughters. You don't have to crash to deserve rest anymore. You don't need to reach a breaking point to change. You can choose healing now. You can walk in it today, and that walk will not be passive. It will be powerful. Because choosing rest in a world that runs on performance is radical. It's prophetic. It's holy. And here's the truth. My favor is moving toward you, not because you've done everything right, but because you've returned to me. That's always been the condition of my promises. Return, and watch what I do. You've humbled yourself. You've let go of the illusion. You've allowed me into the rooms of your heart you once kept guarded. And I see that. I honor that. And yes, I will bless that. So don't be surprised when peace starts showing up in places that used to feel like pressure. When old cycles stop satisfying you. When old rhythms start to feel too loud. That's the fruit of transformation. That's what happens when love becomes your source again. I'm shifting things, not just in you, but around you. Not to test you, but to reflect what's been restored inside you. This is how the world will know you're mine. Not by your success, but by your rest. Not by how much you've done, but by how deeply you've trusted. Not by perfection, but by peace. They'll look at you and see someone who no longer performs to be loved, but simply walks like someone who is. And they'll wonder how. And that's when you'll tell them, not about a strategy, but about a person. Not about a method, but about me. There's one more thing I want you to notice. One more layer I want to uncover. Not just the mask you've worn or the pace you've kept, but the way you've treated your breath, your very breath. It's become something you've overlooked, even used against yourself. You hold it when you're anxious. You sigh when you feel invisible. You speak quickly, as if each sentence must justify your place in the room. But I gave you your breath as a rhythm of communion, not just to keep you alive, but to keep you connected. Think about it. I breathed into you at the very beginning. Before you did anything, before you made a single decision, before you served, sacrificed, or succeeded, I gave you breath. My spirit entered you not as a reward, but as a beginning. And since then, every inhale has been my reminder. You are mine. You are sustained. You are loved. Even when you forgot me, your breath kept testifying that I had not forgotten you. You don't have to chase me down. I'm already in your lungs. You don't have to beg me to come near. I've already made my home inside you. That's why I'm asking you to slow down and become aware again. Not to manufacture a moment, but to remember me in the middle of the one you're in. When you find yourself spiraling in fear, pause. When your mind starts scanning through what you still need to do to stay valuable, stop. Come back to your breath. Come back to me. This is not a technique. This is a relationship. I'm not inviting you to meditate like the world does. I'm inviting you to commune like my children do. Through stillness, through honesty, through nearness. Let my spirit be your breath again, not your last resort, but your first response. When the world pulls you into urgency, let my voice pull you into clarity. When you feel the old patterns rise, when that voice in your mind says, you're falling behind, or you haven't done enough, or if you don't respond right now, you'll lose them. Pause. Not everything that feels urgent is holy. Not every opportunity is your assignment. Not every invitation is from me. That's how I begin to train your spirit, through discernment rooted in love, not fear, not pressure, not the need to be needed. When your heart is grounded in the truth that you are already loved, your decisions begin to change. You start saying no without guilt. You stop rescuing people I never asked you to carry. You stop shrinking in rooms where your presence is misunderstood. You begin to trust that being with me is never wasted time. Let me walk with you into your relationships now, into the places where performance once dictated your worth, where love felt like a transaction, where you gave more than you had just to avoid being abandoned. I see those patterns, and I see the little child inside you who learned to equate usefulness with belonging. But child, you are not what you give to others. You are not what they take from you. You are not defined by the needs you fill. You're defined by the love I placed on you before they ever reached for your help. It's time to let some of those soul ties break. Not with hate, not with bitterness, but with clarity, with peace, with the understanding that love doesn't require you to perform to stay wanted. You are not keeping anyone alive. I am. You are not the emotional regulator of the world. That job is too heavy for your frame. You are free to step out of the roles you were never meant to fill. And when you do, when you walk lighter, quieter, more whole, some will question it. That's okay. You don't owe an explanation for your healing. You don't need to apologize for becoming more yourself. The ones I've called into your life for this next season will not be confused by your peace. They'll recognize it. They'll honor it. They'll be drawn to the beauty of someone who knows they are loved without earning it. That's how legacy starts, not with impact that drains you, but with identity that roots you. You begin living in a way that quietly rewrites the rules you inherited. You show your children, your friends, your community what it looks like to live free, to live present, to live whole, and that will speak louder than any platform ever could. And still, I know there are days when it's harder to believe this, days when the world's noise creeps back in, days when your body reacts out of habit and your soul forgets the truth. That's okay. I'll remind you. I'll come back into the silence with you. I'll whisper the same thing I whispered on day one. You don't have to perform to be loved. You already are. So let this be your anchor. My spirit is your breath, and my love is your foundation. When others leave, I stay. When the world moves on, I remain. When your strength falters, my presence grows stronger in you. I'm not looking for perfection. I'm looking for proximity. And I've already come close. You've walked with me through layers of memory, habit, and ache. You've let me speak where shame once lived. And now, here we are, at the edge of something new. Not the edge of more doing, not the edge of a new version of yourself to maintain, but the beginning of living loved. For real, not just in theory, not just in your Sunday language, but in the quiet, deep rhythms of your everyday. Let me say this clearly. You don't need to go back to who you were, even if others expect it, even if the pressure returns, even if it's familiar. What I've restored in you is not temporary, it's real. You've tasted something better than approval. You've experienced a love that holds you even when you've let go. That's not something you forget. That's something you follow. So follow me, not with urgency, but with trust. Let your new posture be one of open hands, not clenched fists. Let your obedience flow from intimacy, not anxiety. You don't need to fear falling behind in life. You're not behind. You're right on time, because I am your timing. And I'm not late. I'm not distant. I'm not impatient with your healing. I'm building something holy in your slow pace. And in this pace, something sacred happens. Your ears open wider. You begin to hear my voice in places you used to rush through. You recognize me in the kindness of a stranger, in the quiet of the morning light, in the tears that come without warning. You notice my fingerprints on your ordinary days because you're no longer distracted by striving, and you begin to walk with a holy confidence, not because you're strong, but because you know you're held. From that place, your purpose becomes clear, not as a pressure, but as an overflow. You stop wondering, what does God want from me? And you start asking, what are we doing together today? That's the difference between servants and sons. Servants strive to please. Sons stay close and trust that love is already theirs. And you, beloved, are a son, a daughter, a fully embraced heir, not because you mastered performance, but because you received grace. So what now? You live. You live from love. You don't wait until you've fixed every wound. You don't stall until you feel more spiritual. You begin walking as someone who is already clean, already welcomed, already empowered, and when you fall, you don't spiral. You return. That's the rhythm now. Fall, return, breathe, remain. You were never called to be flawless. You were called to be faithful, and faithfulness looks like getting up again, not to prove your worth, but because your heart knows where home is. Don't underestimate the power of a soul at rest. That's where heaven's influence begins to flow. That's where healing becomes contagious. That's where you start to impact others, not by effort, but by presence. The ones around you will sense it, that you're no longer performing for love, but living from it. And that, more than anything else, will draw them to me. So go now, not in a rush, not in a flurry of new goals. Go slowly, go gently. Go as someone who is already loved, already safe, already home in my presence. I am not watching your every move with suspicion. I'm walking with you in every moment with delight. You've returned to the center, and I'll keep you there. You are mine, amen. If these words helped unmask the weight you've carried, don't let them stay silent. Someone else is quietly wondering if they are loved beyond what they do. Let this reminder echo further. Share it. You were seen today, Kapower, and so is the next soul who needs to hear this too.